And a great golfing good morning to you. Welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Bridgestone Golf. Play the ball that fits you. By Sea Palms Resort, featuring the Miracle, an incredible practice facility for members. And by Mizuno Golf, reach beyond with the new JPX 921s. On the show, we're going to be talking fitting golf balls with Elliot Mello of Bridgestone Golf. Actually, we're going to talk with Elliot about how it was to work with Bryson prior to the protein buildup and Tiger and how they're so different and why you should get fitted for the best ball only for you. Then we'll talk with Communications Director Angela McSwain of the RBC Heritage Classic up in Hilton Head at Sea Pines. And we'll talk to her about, the media has changed a lot over the years. She used to be a reporter, so we're going to talk to her about how that has changed over the 17 years that she has been the communications director at the RBC. And then we'll talk with Bob May. You might remember Bob May from way back when. He battled Tiger Woods in the 2000 PGA Championship through an unforgettable three-hole playoff. Then he had some back issues, like Tiger, and then he had some other issues, and now he's with the Bob May Golf Academy. So what is it like to work with a guy named Bryson DeChambeau, and what is it like to work with a guy by the name of Tiger Woods? Well, our next guest is Elliot Mello, marketing manager for Bridgestone Golf Balls. Good morning, Elliot, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. I am excited to have you because I've had a lot of folks say, Rich, can you get Bryson on the show? And after I tell them probably not, I figured you would be able to tell us all about Bryson. And one of the things, what difference did you see in Bryson prior to the protein drinks? And then what did you see afterwards besides hitting unbelievable bombs?
Facet of his game, from the equipment to the swing mechanics to his physique, and as you mentioned, the protein shakes. And so what was interesting, we saw a swing that became faster. We saw a swing that had more load on the shaft and it's more explosive through impact. We saw a swing that, while at times can look a little unconventional on television, was still relatively controlled in terms of how the club was delivered to the ball in the moment of impact. So really the biggest change for us when working with Bryson was just sheerly the increase in the swing speed. There's nothing necessarily mechanically different or spin rate related differences. So really just an increase in the velocity which he's swinging, and also ultimately he's playing our highest compression golf ball, the Tour BX, so it continues to work for him as his swing evolves and becomes faster.
So when he came back and you saw the transformation, I mean, it's almost like Clark Kent to Superman. What was your first impression? Like, oh my gosh.
Well, we had started this process with Bryson. I guess in November, December of 2019 is when he kind of gave us some insight into what he was trying.
Okay.
And so we weren't necessarily caught off guard. I think kind of the aha moment for a lot of people is when the tour had to go on hiatus last year. Bryson kind of ramped it up and took it to the next level.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people thought that was something that happened as a result of the downtime, but it in fact was a more calculated move that he's been working on since the latter part of 2019.
Did you have any concerns like, oh, I think he's bulked up too much? Because that can be an issue as far as a golf swing is concerned.
Yeah, we've heard from other players in the past, that getting too big hurts rotation and hurts delivering the club consistently.
Right.
In Bryson's case, we know the way his brain calculates, we know the way his brain thinks, so I wasn't necessarily concerned. Just knowing that he kind of has every part of the equation figured out, and if he doesn't, he'll figure out a way to make it work. So just because he's a different bird, so to speak, he's from a different DNA than us mere mortals. I knew we'd figure it out one way or another.
Well, I know you guys have worked with him for quite a while, and you've also worked with Tiger. But one of the things that somebody asked me the other day, how would you like to be Bryson's caddy and go through all the stats and the statistics and the 5 per minutes of the mile of this and that, and it's going to be a 6%, da 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 da. I mean, it just seems like the guy's got to be a physicist or a chemist in order to work with him.
Yeah, Tim's a great guy. Bryson's caddy. He kind of comes from the same school of thought to a certain extent that Bryson does. And
okay.
The golf mechanics, the golf scientist approach. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We'll be out there walking with them in a practice round, and they get over the golf ball, and in terms of determining distance, club to play, etc. A normal PGA player, for example, they'll look at the yardage book. They might step a couple things off. They'll throw some grass in there, and they kind of throw their shot in there.
Right.
What Bryson and Tim are doing is they determine the yardage. So they'll determine it's 150 yards, for example, and then they'll add 2% because the adrenaline's high. They'll minus 3% because of wind, plus 2% because of elevation, etc. And they go through a series of calculations, many of which I'm actually not allowed to talk about. Adding and subtracting percentages to ultimately get to what club to play into the approach shot.
All right. I know you also work with Tiger, and I remember Adam telling me that he was at the Medalist down in Florida working with Tiger, and Michael Jordan drove up, and it was probably the most incredible 30 minutes he's ever had. But Tiger is also very concerned and detailed about what he wants in a golf ball. How much different was it working with Bryson than it was with Tiger, or was it just kind of a different kind of dedication?
They're both behind the scenes. They are both fanatics when it comes to equipment. Obviously, closely facing Bryson more so than Tiger.
Right.
When we get with Tiger in a range session and an R&D session, he is every bit as in tune with what's happening as Bryson, even more so, quite honestly. So Tiger can provide us feedback above and beyond what we're able to capture on the robot. So in terms of things like how long the ball's staying on the face, in terms of the ball hitting his window and the trajectory being tight and consistent. So Tiger's really valuable to us to kind of button up some areas that we're not able to measure robotically or with Doppler radar. And then on the flip side of that, Bryson's very valuable to us because he tests in a way that basically is led by curiosity rather than by the desire to improve in the moment. And so what I mean by that is a lot of players that we test with, it's a simple yes or no. This works or this doesn't work for my game or for my current needs. What Bryson does is Bryson will hit a shot and he'll say, that's absolutely amazing with my driver. It's not going to work with my current iron setup, but if I change my shafts and I tweak the loft, I could get it to work with the irons. And he's thinking more holistically about the calculation of how he could incorporate technologies as opposed to a simple yes or no. So they're both valuable to us in the fact that they provide us feedback beyond what we're capable of getting on our own.
Yeah, I'll bet you it's been very, very interesting. So how is their relationship, Bryson and Tiger, done as far as Bridgestone golf ball sales?
Yeah, they've been masterful to us. Obviously on their likeness and their image, and we use them in commercials and the PR, et cetera. They're very visible, and that's invaluable to us. But then also, quite honestly, their deals are structured in a way that they're an extension of our R&D team, which further separates us from a performance, innovation, technology standpoint.
Right.
So you kind of have a dual-edged sword, which works really good. They draw consumers into our brand and make Bridgestone, kind of the technology leader visibly to the consumer and validate the technology. But then ultimately, when golfers hit our products, since Tiger and Bryson helped co-design them, they experience performance unlike they're used to. So they both are acquisition for us, and then in terms of acquiring customers, but then they're also customer retention in the fact that they've helped us design such quality products.
Yeah, I mean, the Tour Bs have been doing really well, but now you also have the new E12. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so really we're in a multi-year project called Contact Science, which is all about optimizing the moment of impact for the unique needs of each shot. So you mentioned Tour B. Last year we launched Tour B with our reactive cover, which was a material change unlike anything else that made the cover faster off the driver and have more control around the green. So here we are, 2021, year 2 of contact science, and we have our contact force dimple, which is a structural change to the dimple pattern of the golf ball. And what that does on our new E12 golf ball, contact force dimple produces 38% more contact at impact, and ultimately 38% more contact on the E12 means better energy transfer for better ball speed and great distance off the tee.
Right.
And then flip side of that, 38% more contact means more friction on the short game. So more friction means more backspin, more control, better stopping power. So it really pushes the boundary of performance with every club in the bag in our new E12 contact product.
Well, let me ask you this. What have you guys heard about Tiger and his recovery? We know that he's now home. It's probably going to be a long process. Have you guys had any update?
We're kind of in the same boat as everyone else in terms of
Okay.
knowledge. No necessarily insider knowledge. We get some intel a little bit sooner than the general public does, but it's the same information everyone's hearing, and it's going to be a process for him. Obviously,
Yeah.
There's a lot that happens before golf, and we're with Tiger every step of the way. So from the therapy and the rehab standpoint, in terms of getting on his feet again, and then playing with the kids and family time, and then golf comes after that. So we're
Right.
supportive of every part of the process.
Well, we all just hope, and I'm sure you guys do too, that he just gets back to a life, and hopefully golf will follow after that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way we're taking it, and our thoughts and prayers are with him, and we continue to support him in any way we can.
All right, check out everything on bridgestonegolf.com. Check out how you can be fitted right there. That's Elliot Mello. And Elliot, thank you for being with us. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Rich. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Always a pleasure. Next up is Angela McSwain of the RBC Heritage Classic.
Montessori here, caddy of Webb Simpson, 2012 U.S. Open winner, 2018 Players Champ, and I'm here on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. And Webb Simpson is also the defending champion of the RBC Heritage. And with us is the communications director of the RBC Heritage. Good morning, Angela. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. You and I have talked over the years, and this is the first time that you have been a guest on our golf show. I'm thrilled to have you.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad to be here too. I usually am the one setting up your interviews with other people on our staff.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a former TV reporter. Now you are the communications director and have been for over 17 years. When you were covering the RBC Heritage, it's changed a lot between then, obviously, over the years, and now.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, so much has changed with technology. When I was a reporter, the camera I carried was the size of a toddler. I had a huge tripod that I walked all over the golf course with. Now their cameras are smaller, they're lighter, everything is digital. I didn't edit digitally. I mean, I still edit like the old school way.
Right.
And we had to uplink it from the satellite truck, hoping that we would be able to get, a clear shot back to Savannah. It was my favorite week of the year. I loved being on Hilton Head. I used to have to travel back and forth to Savannah, and I loved driving back and forth. I loved that everything was happening on my turf, and I knew all the places to go, and I knew the golf course, and the sports guys would need my help for things.
Right.
So I loved it. And then there used to be the Family Circle Cup was the week before, so it was 2 full weeks of amazing pro sports on Hilton Head that I was lucky enough to be a part of. But even, the media center back then, everything was manual. We had a calligraphy board. We had a calligrapher that used to do the scores, and that's how, of course, the PGA Tour had those big old boards that almost look like this, the things you see on the side of a highway. They'd make the little click, click, click noise as the scores were changing. And then that stayed even when I started working. We had the calligraphy board and we had that old school leaderboard for a very long time until technology changed. Now we have a huge video board that's built by tiny little boards, and we have the broadcast showing, we have the leaderboard, and then we switch it for a backdrop for interviews. I mean, it's come a long way. We don't do the calligraphy board anymore, which makes me sad because I always thought it was a beautiful piece of art on our wall that I like to keep. It's in my garage. All of them from the years that I worked at the Heritage are in my garage, in my party.
Really?
Room. Yeah. Little pieces of history in the garage.
Do you have rooms for your cars, or is it filled up?
No, we do. We do.
So you made the change from being a reporter, then you were kind of working in PR, and obviously this became an opportunity that you jumped on, and here it is over 17 years later. And you just do a wonderful job for the RBC.
Oh, thank you very much. It's always been my favorite. I was lucky my whole time. I moved to Hilton Head in 1997, and the Heritage has always been a part of my life, whether I was covering it. And then when I worked in PR, I worked for the telephone company, and we had a huge sponsorship with them. So I was on the sponsor side. So when I heard that they had an opening, when I went to interview, they knew me for all of those years from being a reporter and working at Hargray, and I knew them and I knew the business, and it's the best of both worlds because I have the ability of a basically 9-to-5 job most of the year. And I still get to work with the media. I'm just on the other side. I love helping media build stories and pitching them story ideas. And I think they like working with me too, because I just give them the whole thing. I'm like, here's the people you can interview. Here's the perfect B-roll.
Right.
I try to make it as easy as possible. So they do the stories that I want them, that I am encouraging them to do to help out.
You're kind of guiding them along the way.
I am, yes. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it's fun being on the other side. And
yeah.
I get a little, only during Heritage do I get a little melancholy, and then I'm like, oh, I wish I was back on the other side.
Not very much though, because you've been there 17 years. So
yeah, I'd never ever go back now to being in TV. The stress,
no, all right.
The posting online and the tweeting and Facebook. having to make split-second decisions of what you put out there. You know, I'd have a whole car ride home or to Savannah to edit my story and to think and to confirm.
Right.
And they don't have that. Like, I feel like that window is so tiny now.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. I love what I do.
All right. I've been wanting to ask you this over the years, and you may have to think about this. What has been one of the weirdest requests that you've had for an interview or a shoot or whatever?
You know, I think I have to think about that, and I probably have a better one than what I'm going to say. But like 8 or 9 years ago, we introduced Sir William Innes. He's always been in our logo. He's the little colonial man.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought him to life. And I am always amazed by people's reaction to him and like how crazy they go over him. And even like reporters like want to interview him and want to talk to him, and people his hair and, you know, goose him, and like ladies are dripping all over him taking pictures. It always just really cracks me up, like how they are so, like, he's a mascot basically, and they are
a live one.
They're so crazy into him.
Maybe another one will come. I mean,
I have to, like, this afternoon I'm going to email you and be like, I thought of something crazy.
All right. So,
you know what is interesting now too is, you know, back in the day, like, we had newspapers, magazines, TV, radio.
Right.
That was it. Now there's bloggers. Now there's influencers. Now there's people who have podcasts. And I have to figure out, you know, like Global Golf Post is now, I mean, that's the industry standard basically in golf reporting.
Right.
But when they first started, we were like, do we give them credentials? Like, it's all so new and it's so different. You know, it's so hard. So I get a lot of those things. You know, I have 5 people that watch my podcast, you know, that listen to my podcast. Can I come and broadcast from your tournament? Like, you know, you gotta.
Yep. Let me check with the PGA.
And actually now due to COVID restrictions, the PGA Tour is making a lot more of those decisions because we are under so many guidelines that we have to follow to keep safety, you know.
Yeah. We used to be able to come up there, and I loved coming up and, you know, doing the show, and you'd have everybody ready, and we'll just have to say, wait till next year, right?
Yeah. And that's what I keep telling everyone. It is our hope and plan to be back to normal in 2022. But actually last year when we did the tournament in June, we would have never, ever imagined that we'd still be in this situation.
Well, and also a very quick turnaround. I mean, from June to now you're back, and, you know, it's coming up in, you know, a month, and you know,
I think 23 days, 23 or 22.
Yeah.
It is, and it's very difficult to plan something that you don't know exactly what it's going to look like or how.
Right.
That's been really tough. Even like media asking, you know, can I come to the media? You know, can I get my credentials back this year? I'm like, you have to just hang in there. And I've got to just see what happens, how it all shakes out.
Right. Well, you've had a long history with the PGA Tour. The RBC Heritage has, always the week after the Masters, except last year. And it is like Sea Islands RSM, very popular with the pros, and they bring their families because it is just that kind of a place.
It really is. We hear such fun stories from tour professionals about the times that they spend on Hilton Head. I mean, it's like a vacation for them. You know, they get to go home to a condo or a house that has a pool that's by the beach, and their families, you know, make them decompress, and they forget about golf, and they're able to hang out with their families and get up the next morning and go to work. But they have like a nice break from it. They can go ride bikes. And nobody's going to bother them. You know, everybody is used to it that lives in Sea Pines. You know, the tournament's been going on for 53 years. So that, you know, they're not such looky-loos because, you know, they feel so, you know, they enjoy that the pros enjoy their community.
Yeah, definitely. And you've got an unbelievable, which I'm not surprised, you're not surprised. I guess maybe you might be surprised sometimes based on who commits, but now you've got the RBC folks, the pros that work with them, and you've got some of the European Tour players coming. I mean, just another incredible field for the RBC Heritage.
Yeah, our field is really shaping up. I'm excited. Our partnership with RBC has been wonderful. Their team of ambassadors have always been near and dear to the RBC heritage. They've always played well. They've always been fan favorites. So to have them be RBC ambassadors is really great. Knowing that they'll come back year after year.
Sure.
You know, having Dustin Johnson come back after being gone for so long and having him enjoy the golf course so much makes us all feel really great. We know our golf course is great, and some of those long ball hitters don't want to give us, don't want to give it a chance, and even they enjoy it when they come and play.
I enjoyed it. A couple of weeks ago, we had a great media day. The wind was blowing. It's okay. Conditions like that just really show how weak my game is. That's okay.
It's better than mine. I didn't even go out and play with you guys. That's how bad mine is.
So give us the website so our folks can go get tickets.
Go to rbcheritage.com and you can find everything you need. We've got tickets on sale now. We're starting to sell out of some different options. So if you're interested in coming, you should probably buy sooner than later.
Got it.
Having a limited amount of people on the golf course it's going to be, I think, really interesting. I think it's going to be a fun experience for people who are going to be there, and they're going to be able to say, like, I was there when there was no skyboxes. I was there when there was only a handful, of people out on the course. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Well, we can't either. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time. Thanks for spending part of your morning with us.
Now you have to go to a tennis tournament with my daughter.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
Angela, it's great to talk to you.
All right. Same here. Thanks, Angela. Angela McSwain, the communications director for the RBC Heritage. Just a great lady who's done a great job up there. Coming up next, you might remember this. Bob May, who took it to Tiger 20 years ago, and it nearly ended in a victory. But first, we want to talk about Luke Donald, Keith Mitchell, going to be at the RBC Heritage. They know what do they know about Mizuno golf clubs? Whether they're made for performance and feel. They introduced the new ST series of drivers and fairway metals so you can extend your long game. The new irons, the JPX 921s and MP20s, are built for feel with absolute precision and performance. Complete your bag with a new M-Craft putter and check out the new clubs at MizunoGolf.com. MizunoGolf.com. Reach beyond.
This is Keith Mitchell on the PGA Tour. You're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We are just glad to be with you. Bob May played professional golf on both the PGA European Tour. Had one win. Bob is with us from his home in Las Vegas. Good morning, Bob, and thanks for being with us.
Good morning. It's good to be with you all. A little early out here, but
Yeah.
I didn't have good sleep last night. We had some really high winds out here today.
Well, we've got them today, so you sent them our way, and that's what we have for the next couple of days. But obviously, you were 16 years old. You were playing great golf. I just want to kind of jump in. You were featured in Sports Illustrated, kind of people to watch. How did you feel at the age of 16, knowing that you were going to be in Sports Illustrated?
It was exciting. It was an exciting time, knowing that they thought I was the up and coming of the next golfers to be coming through. And, I had a lot of good tournaments before leading up to that point.
Right.
So I guess you could say you kind of saw it coming.
And you set a lot of junior records. You were in Southern California, kind of like another guy that's currently on the PGA Tour, a guy named Tiger Woods. But you set a lot of records when you were younger.
Yeah, I did. I was very fortunate. Golf consumed all my time, and it was something that I was very addictive to. And it was a sport, and not just a sport, but just out of everything, I always got positive feedback doing it. And so, I was drawn to it, and I just wanted to get better and better. And then it got to be that, I wanted to be the best, when I was young.
Does it bug you that you're well known for a playoff in 2000 that you didn't win, more so than your time on the PGA or a Champions Tour?
No, it does not really, because I really didn't lose that tournament. I actually just got outplayed. It wasn't like I made a bad shot coming in, or I gave up, or something. I played really well. Actually beat him on the last round, but when you give the best player in the world at the time a one-shot lead, you got to beat him by two, not just one.
Yeah. So you were in the final pairing on that day back in 2000. What
Yes,
were your
sir.
thoughts knowing that you were going up against this kid?
Well, knowing I was going up against Tiger, you got to understand, Tiger and I grew up in Southern California. Tiger is 7 years younger than me. So, he was always still little Tiger Woods to me.
Okay.
I respected his game and everything he's done up to that point. Obviously, he grew the game tremendously for all of us. But when I look at it, I just told myself that night that, he's going to put his pants on the same way I am, one leg at a time. So he's not some superhero.
Right.
And he's a normal human being. And then the other thing I told myself, which I think was the best thing, is that Tiger and I are going to go out and play a round of golf together, but we're not going to play the same golf course today. And what I mean by that is that he's going to hit it so much further than me. He's going to take different lines and have different targets to go at. And I had to just stick with what I've been doing the first 3 days, because it got me in that position for the final day, and just play my golf course that I know how to play. And so the first hole, I hit a drive right down the center, about maybe 280, 285 or so. And he took it over this tree. He hit it. There's a big tree on the left side of Valhalla on number one. And when it got to the tree was 278. And the tree was probably, 30, 40 feet tall. And he flew it right over the top of that. And he probably outdrove me by about 60 yards on that first hole.
Wow.
And so basically what it was confirming that what I thought all night, hey, he's going to play a different golf course than me. It was confirmed right there on the first hole. And I was like, all right, that's exactly what I was expecting. And I was ready for it. And I think that was the biggest thing. We saw some players fail to him in the previous majors, but there were guys that could also kind of hit it long. And I think sometimes they got consumed with trying to drive it with him and
Right.
hit
Right.
him. And, back then in 2000, Tiger, not only was he one of the longest, if not the longest, he was the straightest too. And his game was just so well-rounded. So, I knew it was going to be a hard day's work out there.
All right. So you get up to 18. You on the 18th green, you've got to get in for a tie, and then you're going to go into a playoff. What were your thoughts?
Well, going into 18, we both hit the green in 2, but we weren't in the best positions. I putted mine. I putted mine. I had a huge slope, which isn't on the green anymore, but I had a slope that was probably about. It would seem to be 12 feet high or so, big slope, and I hit the putt, and I hit it so hard it just ran right up that thing and lost. It didn't kill any speed, and I ran it off the back of the green there. And then Tiger ran his by about 8 feet or so. And then, mine coming down the hill was just going to be, as fast as heck. And, I just, all I had to really do was to make sure I had the right line, because the speed was taken care of because of the slope.
Right.
And, got the right line, and it went in. And the putt that he makes, people make it sound like it was a little, 3-4 footer. That putt was every bit of 8 feet, and it caught that high side and just went in, which, maybe in the morning it may not have, with a real sharp lip on the cup. But I mean, I never expected him to miss it.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people, I've heard interviews of people when they were playing with Tiger, that they always expect him to make the putt. So he makes the putt. You guys are tied. You're going into a 3-hole playoff.
Going into a 3-hole playoff, I don't think Tiger or myself, well, I know myself, I didn't know that it was a 3-hole playoff. Unfortunately, I was like, all right, we're going to go back to 18. All the pressure's back on Tiger again. It's a par 5. He's supposed to reach it in 2. And we sign our cards, and they're like, all right, we're going back to 16. I'm like, 16?
Whoa.
They go, it's a 3-hole playoff this year. I'm like, oh. So I kind of got out of my thinking process and started thinking too far ahead, which I never did all day. And I'm not sure Tiger didn't know that. I don't think he knew it was a 3-hole playoff either.
Okay.
And so back out to 16 we go, and I pull my drive left, and he hits a good 2-iron off the tee, and then he hits a good iron in there. I laid up short out of the rough to the right rough, and then I hit what I thought was a pretty darn good chip that just stopped maybe 3 inches short of the hole and tapped in. And then the putt that he made, honestly, I thought it might miss low, and it's just like that last little bit of rotation got the ball there to catch that lip and fall in. Because when he started running, I was like, ooh, that's kind of a quick run.
Yeah.
But it made it there.
All right, take us through the final hole, because I've had a lot of people, when I told him you were going to be on and when I tweeted about it and stuff, everybody said, oh, please ask him. What was it like being on that 3rd hole with him, and here you are at a PGA championship?
It's once we get out there and you're out and going, it's just golf to us.
Right.
You got to be able to block out everything that's going on around you. And you got to be focused on your golf shot. And I think that's where a lot of people don't understand. If they really watch us, they will be able to know when we're going to hit the golf ball. Because the reason I say that is most of us all have a routine.
Right.
And our routine tells us when to hit the golf ball. Because we're going to feel different at times. I mean, there's times there's nobody following us. Sometimes there's 50,000, 100,000 people on that last hole following us, right? So we're going to feel different. So therefore, we might act different or do something different when really we need to be doing the same thing. So
right.
Our routine, I mean, when you're in that position, I rely on my routine to tell me when to hit the golf ball, not on my feelings.
Right.
So
you're on the green,
when we're in a battle
hole.
like that, excuse me?
So you're on the green on the last hole.
On the green on the last hole, it was kind of disappointing because we both hit bad tee balls. I laid up through the fairway in the rough, and then tried to power a wedge out, and it hit on the right and rolled down the slope. So knowing that he hit his bunker shot up there, for par, he was in there at basically 3-footer or 2-footer for a par, and I had a 40 plus foot putt for birdie.
Right.
Basically knew I had to make it, and hit a good putt, just didn't hit it quite hard enough.
Yeah, gotcha. I want to talk to you more about that, but we got to take a break. We'll be back with Bob May live from Las Vegas right after this on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
This is Josh Teeter, PGA Tour Pro, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We are live on the phone with Bob May from his home in Las Vegas. And Bob, after the playoff, you don't win, Tiger does. What does he say to you?
Oh, we just said, hey, great match, enjoyed the day, told him congratulations. And, the media was pulling us different directions because, it was late. There wasn't much light left at all.
Right.
And, I didn't see him until Disney that year. We didn't cross paths until Disney. And Disney, it's 2 pros and 2 amateurs, and they paired Tiger and I together at Disney that year.
Well, that was pretty cool. Did you guys talk anything about it, or was it just back to?
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, we talked
Okay.
a little bit about it. The poor amateurs that we were playing with, nice guys, but I mean, everyone was following pretty much our group because of the PGA, and it was the first. They advertised it was the first event that he and myself would be playing together, and so they were nervous as heck. I just told my amateur on the first hole, it's lined with people down the right and real narrow. I said, just hit it towards the trees. You'll be okay. he didn't even want to tee off. Nicest gentleman, but it was I could see how it could have been really tough on them.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Did the crowds bother you at the PGA Championship during your final round or during the playoffs? I mean, obviously there were more than probably would have been since you guys were the final pairing.
No, the crowd didn't bother me at all.
Okay.
It was actually kind of neat on 14. It was a long par 3, and I hit it in there close, and walking off the tee box, some guy out of a hospitality set, hollered out, "What about Bob?" And the whole crowd started going. So the crowd was great there in Louisville. You got to love them over there.
Well, you and Tiger have had very similar careers. I mean, kind of as juniors, you won a lot. You were both on the PGA Tour. You kind of went in different directions, and you both have had some issues with your back. How is your back today?
Actually, my back today is very well.
Okay.
I've had 3 surgeries. The second one was a fusion that I had, which was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
I've got 4 or 5 fused, so I've got 2 rods, 4 bolts, and a cage in there. I used to be on a lot of Advil and Tylenol because I won't take pain pills. So I was taking, anywhere from 3 Advil to 9 Advil a day, with maybe, sometimes 2 Tylenol up to 6 Tylenol a day. And for the last 4 years, I hadn't taken anything.
That's awesome.
At all.
That's awesome.
So, and my third surgery was I had a herniated disc in C7 and lost the use of my right arm. And I just got that back about 2.5 years ago. But I only have about 70% strength in my right arm now. So I lost about 8 miles an hour at club head speed, 10 miles an hour at club head speed now.
So how hard was it based on?
I don't hit it quite as far as I used to.
Yeah, I don't either, but I haven't had any of those injuries. But
how hard was the injury?
How hard was it for you to stop playing on the PGA Tour?
Well, my first injury, when I got injured, it took me out for 3 years, and I knew it was golf. And now I'm out injured, and I didn't play golf for 3 years. It's something I did every day from the time I was basically 9 years old.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, when we're playing bad, we're like, I'm going to quit this damn game, or tired of it. When it's taken from you, you really realize how much you love it.
Yeah.
When you're playing bad, it's easy to walk away from it. But when you're playing all right and it gets taken from you, you realize how much you love this game. And that's why once I started having trouble again, that's why I got into teaching, because I do love the game, and I love helping people with the game.
Bob, we've got about a minute left. Any regrets?
Any regrets? No, I have no regrets with golf. The game's been great to me, and I've met great people. You look at it, Rich. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So I can't have any regrets.
Awesome. Well, Bob, I know you got a busy day. You said you were going out of town. Thank you for talking with us. We appreciate it, and love to be able to talk with you again.
All right. Well, I look forward to talking to you guys. Anytime you guys want to get on the show, let me know.
You got it. All right. Thank you. Bob May played at Tiger Woods in a battle in 2000. Many will never forget it, and it was an incredible 3-hole playoff. We want to thank you for being with us. I'm Rich Stiles. Thanks to my producer, Cody Queen. We're on every Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9 on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Check us out on ESPNCoastal.com and on Back Nine Boys.